This episode is sponsored by The Wedding Shop. Having a gift list makes life easier for both you and your wedding guests. With over 450 brands, honeymoon funds, charity contributions and personalised funds, there is absolutely no chance you're ending up with 40 of the same wine glasses. Not to mention the service is completely free of charge, which makes it even better. So to celebrate your engagement, we are giving anyone who registers for The Wedding Shop via the link in the show notes £50 worth of Wedding Shop credit for you to spend on any gift from their branded partners. T's and C's apply. Hi, I'm Imogen.
And I'm Ella.
And you're listening to the Rock My Wedding podcast,
bringing you all the inspiration and help you need as you make your way along your planning journey.
Join us as we chat with our recommended suppliers from our curated list, sharing with you all the expert advice.
And don't forget about Recycle My Wedding, your one-stop shop for a more sustainable wedding. Hello everybody and welcome back.
And we're still at Iscoyd.
Still at Iscoyd. It's looking a little foggy out there at the moment, a little bit horror movie-esque.
If you're watching it, obviously we're filming at the same time as recording audio, so you'll be able to watch us, which is always slightly daunting.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Phil, the owner of Iscoyd, just took us out actually to see the shepherd's hut, didn't he?
Yeah, it was so cool. I love it.
And I know I think we've mentioned a bathtub in every episode of the podcast so far.
The bath was really cool, though.
The bath was really cool.
It was. Well, he said it was like an old whiskey tub or something?
Imagine bathing in whiskey.
Oh, yeah. I don't know whether
I
think it runs water. I don't think it's whiskey. So anyway, we're not actually just talking about bathtubs today. So today we're going to be discussing basically how you can budget for your wedding. So we're going to talk pre-loved dresses, DIYing. So because of that, we are joined by content creator and DIY queen
extraordinaire.
Yeah, Sasha from Rock My Wedding.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Very happy to be here.
Excited?
Welcome to the pod fun.
Thank you. I've never been so excited in my life for anything.
Excited / nervous?
Yeah, a little nervous. I've done one podcast in my life before this. And that was a good few years ago.
That's
so I need
fine.
to
You're a pro.
get back into it. It's kind of similar vibes actually in terms of like sustainability because it was about veganism, vegetarianism.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good then.
There you go.
So we were just saying, I mean, like recently, obviously there is a cost of living crisis, so people are looking to save a little bit of money and things. And obviously your wedding is such a huge thing and it can cost a lot of money, but there are so many ways that you can actually save.
There are different things that you can do to kind of save money.
Yeah.
Ways to save money, obviously, because that's what we're talking about. And I think the first thing that I kind of want to mention is that you should look at what's important to you on your day.
Yeah.
And kind of discuss that as a couple.
Yeah, definitely.
About what kind of things, you're willing to compromise on and what are the non-negotiables for your day. So, decor, is there ways you can save on decor or flowers? Like if you always dreamed of having all these amazing flowers and you can't imagine your day without them, but you're not too bothered about having a huge cake or like things like that you can kind of, we want this, but this is a kind of, we can have it if it comes in the budget.
And I think for different people as well, like different things are more important. So somebody might be really into their food and that might be a really big thing, or somebody really wants kind of like the styling to look really good, so they're more inclined to spend a bit more money on like dresses and suits and things like that. So one of the things that you are currently doing for Rock My Wedding is your DIY reels.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen them, then you should have a little look.
Yeah, a lot of TikTok, lots of reels.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not like the craftiest person. I don't think I'm very creative at all, actually, when it comes to DIYs. But there's, social media is such a good tool when it comes to getting inspiration from anything.
Yeah.
You can either like copy something almost identical if you like a style of something, or you can just get inspiration from someone. Like, I obviously before this had no idea how to do any kind of wedding decor DIY, had no experience in it. And then I went on Instagram and I went on TikTok, Pinterest, looked through, and it, you can completely like cater it to your own ability.
Yeah.
So if you are a really artsy person, maybe you've got like some kind of art background or you're into that kind of stuff, then go all out. You know, you could probably do like the majority of your decor. But then if you're sort of more like me and you're not as good, then you can do like little bits here and there.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a massive money saver. And I also think, you know, beyond like saving money, especially if you're doing a bigger DIY project, you know, if you're like trying to do like the mass majority of your, you know, decor doing DIY, it can be a really fun like project to do, like with your friends or your family or your, you know, partner.
Yeah.
It can be really fun, and it's like a good way to spend time together.
Yeah, I've seen that quite a lot, especially in, like when we do the real weddings. A lot of the brides have said that they roped in a lot of family members to help them do it.
And I think that's definitely like a key thing to bear in mind is like, you know, you might have like a baker in your family or,
exactly.
you know, and it's just to utilise that help.
Rope them in. They're there to help their family.
Involved.
Yeah.
Uncle Bob, you're on invites.
His calligraphy would be just chef's kiss.
I think with DIY though, it's important to kind of not overcommit yourself, because I feel like it's, you know, like you say, like you're not the craftiest person, but it's kind of easy to be like, oh, I'm just going to DIY the whole thing. I'm going to do my own signs. I'm going to do my own table numbers. And then actually when it comes to it, it's like, oh, I've taken on
I've
far
done this
too
now.
much. And you don't want to add that extra stress onto kind of already quite like a overwhelming time. So I think it's definitely key to manage kind of what you can do and not overcommit yourself.
Yeah, I think it's knowing your limits.
Yeah,
like you said.
Definitely. I think like evaluation is an important part of wedding planning generally, not just for DIY and decor, but like evaluating where you want to spend your money, how you want to allocate your budget, if you've got like a set budget, and then evaluating like how much time you're going to dedicate. Because again, I keep bringing back to the fact that I'm not crafty. It's probably not the best idea, but like I, you know, was doing one DIY for TikTok, and I was like, oh, this will take me 10 minutes, easy peasy. Everyone's going to love this. I'm going viral. And it took me like 4 hours because I just couldn't do like these two little, my handwriting wasn't very good and I'm left-handed. So I kept smudging it and I was getting so frustrated. And you know, these little things that you think are going to take 15 minutes can actually take a day.
Yeah, which is why it is so important to not over.
Don't overegg it.
Yeah,
for sure.
And a lot of the DIY stuff that you've been doing as well, you've been getting the like items or things for it from like charity shops and stuff as well.
Yeah, so I've sort of done like a mini series because obviously that's kind of like killing two birds with one stone in the sustainability world. Getting stuff from charity shops, which is obviously like a very sustainable way of buying anything. And then also being able to like make your own decor instead of, I keep saying decor. I actually don't know if I know how to say the word. Decor. Maybe I'll just switch it up every time I say it throughout the podcast. Change my accent as well, who knows. It's just I think it's a very like affordable way to do it. And also like I think it obviously massively depends on the theme that you're going for with your wedding. Everybody's theme is going to be slightly different. Some people will want more sort of like a cohesive theme where you'll want, you know, 15 of the same centerpieces. But if maybe you're looking for something a bit more like mix and matchy, which I think is what I would go for if I was getting married, I would want something like slightly different in each table. And that's when charity shops are like brilliant. Perfect. You don't even really have to DIY it. You can just go in, like all where I live, there's about 6 or 7 charity shops and they all have pretty big shelves just full of like vases and plates and little quirky like knickknacks and stuff for like £2, you know, it's not exactly like a bank breaker. So you buy it and you're obviously helping out with the charity, so morally you're feeling it's great. And then you just give it a wash. You can add some paint if you want, put some flowers in it, and it just it's like a little quirky
I feel like
thing
it
that you
is
can add to tables.
I see so much of that. I did a wedding the other day and the bride had gone and she'd got antique medicine bottles. And then like taking the labels off, she scrubbed off the labels. So cool. And it was really cool, and she used them as like her centerpieces.
I think it looks great.
Yeah, it looked really good.
I think it looks really, really cool. Yeah. I've also seen, I saw a wedding that we featured not too long ago where I can't remember the brand, but you know those like really lovely olives, and they're like in a tin can, and the tin is really beautiful. I
Yeah.
think they're called like Perolia olives, or like
Okay, yeah.
something like that. And the tin is really colourful. And so she bought like a 20 pack of those olives, and then just emptied them out, probably ate all the olives,
Yeah.
and then put them all as like flower, as like
That's
vases
so
on
cool.
each table.
I love that.
And then I
That's
stole
really
that.
cool.
I stole that, and then I bought 3 of those packs of those olives, and I put all my cutlery in them now in my kitchen.
That's such a good
Yeah.
I think that's a really nice thing as well, is if you do get decor and stuff like that, is to then like either use stuff from around your home, or like things that you can then reuse after your wedding as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing with dried florals now as well. Like, it's a more
Yeah.
sustainable option. But then loads of people I've seen have like given them out as favors and stuff like that. I think it's
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely. And I think on the theme of sustainability and recycling your
Yeah.
decor and things,
I loved that. That
we
was a really
have-
good lead in.
Yeah, excellent segue, Imogen.
Well done.
Top 2.
We have actually got Recycle My Wedding,
Yeah.
which is kind of our one-stop shop for
Everything.
a more sustainable
Yeah.
wedding, and we do everything from wedding dresses to decor, shoes, accessories, and it's kind of a place where brides and grooms can, well, just what it says on the tin really, buy and
Yeah.
sell pre-loved items for their wedding.
Yeah.
And I think that's a place where you can also save money, because I think
Definitely.
there's obviously the perception that sustainability might come as a higher price tag.
Yeah.
But actually, if you're buying and selling things that people have used, that they're not going to want 100 candlesticks again. Like, what are you going to do with
Yeah,
that?
exactly.
So rebuying that, and you
Yeah.
could buy it at a fraction
And some of
the
the stuff
price.
on there as well, I think this is something we've spoken about before, when you have that in mind of like I think it's like
Yeah.
old stuff in inverted commas almost, but the stuff on there is it's actually incredible.
It is.
Yeah,
It's
it really
amazing.
is.
Yeah, the stuff
Some
It's
of
an
the dresses
amazing
we get
array.
listed as
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
are
Yeah, they're
Stunning.
beautiful.
That one
Yeah.
from the other day that I saw, I can't remember what the brand is, but it's the most insane dress I've ever seen.
Yeah, we do get some really lovely, and we get some
Yeah.
really lovely well-known designers as well. That
Yeah,
people,
really well-known
we've
design.
had Emma Beaumont, we've
Yeah.
had Stella York, we've had
Yeah.
a lot of Made with Love, and we also get a lot of shoes that obviously people spend quite a lot on shoes for their wedding. And actually, you can get shoes on Recycle for like a fraction of the price. They've been worn once.
Yeah, we've had Jimmy Choos.
And Jimmy Choo's.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of the
Yeah,
Loeffler
yeah.
Randalls, which
The
always
shoe of the year.
go
They're
down.
brilliant.
Yeah.
So I definitely think it's a place where you can have a look and kind of browse,
Yeah.
keep looking every day, and something will come up that
Yeah,
fits your
yeah,
theme.
definitely.
Yeah.
We get a lot of like table runners and
Yes.
napkins. And like I say, you're not
Napkins.
going to use 100 napkins again.
No.
Or potentially not going to use 100
I
napkins
don't think I
again.
need 100 napkins again, to be honest.
And it's a nice way to then pass it on to other people,
Yeah,
and for them to be
exactly.
able to like purchase it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I first joined and I heard about Recycle, I sort of assumed that it was just dresses. And then when I went on the website
Yeah.
for the first time, like there's so much. And I think you're right. There's this sort of stigma around secondhand,
Yeah.
especially with dresses. I think there's a
Yeah.
stigma around it
is.
that like it's old or it's not going to be good quality. But
Yeah.
like I disagree.
Yeah.
B, so many of the dresses on Recycle have been worn once.
Yeah.
And somebody had like the best time of their life in
Yeah.
that dress,
Yeah.
and then they can give it to somebody else instead of
Yeah.
like put it in the back of your wardrobe and never be touched for however many years.
Yeah.
You can let somebody else have a great time in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is like a
exactly.
really nice. I
And
think it's
some
a
of
really
the
nice
dresses
idea.
actually haven't been worn.
Yeah, so a lot of
as
them are
well.
actually unworn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some of them are
they're
just
like the wrong
unworn.
size, or
Yeah.
it wasn't for them. They ordered
Yeah.
like 6.
Yeah.
Sent loads back. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we also have bridesmaids dresses listed as well.
Yes.
And sometimes they're in sets, sometimes they're one off. It depends if you're having like a mismatched bridal party,
Yeah.
or if you're having like a matching one. We do get a lot of bridesmaids dresses listed too.
Yeah.
And quite often in some of the most popular colours, so like sage. We have some sage green
We've had
bridesmaids
some
dresses.
sage green ones, yeah.
And I think it's just about kind of being smart and shopping around.
Yeah.
And, you may fall in love with a certain bridesmaid's dress, but it might be out of your budget.
Yeah.
It's, kind of, is there something on Recycle?
Yeah.
Or,
I think it's definitely something that people need to bear in mind, because I think you do automatically just assume that you have to buy new
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
wedding. And like we have done so many real weddings where people have kind of gone down more of the sustainability route. Not everything, but some things, like if they've gone for sort of like a vegan dinner or stuff, or they've gone for pre-loved items. And nobody's ever going to look at a wedding and go, oh, they definitely bought that second hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it
That
doesn't
looks like
happen.
Oxfam to
Yes,
me.
that was Oxfam. Nobody's ever going to do that. So I feel like it's something that people do need to just bear in
Yeah.
mind now. Even if you're not budget conscious, I feel like it's just something to do
No,
regardless.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It makes you feel a little bit better as well. I always
Yeah.
feel like that little
Doing a
bit.
bit for the
Yeah.
planet.
Yeah, a little bit better when I'm doing something sustainable.
I think as well, talking about like pre-loved and things like that, it's looking at, is there anything you can borrow from family members as well? Like
Yeah.
my sister wore my mum's veil.
Yeah.
And so obviously she didn't have to buy a veil from new.
Yeah.
And it might be that, people have that option, or there's like
Yeah.
other things that they could borrow, or like, something borrowed.
Oh, you're getting
Ah,
too fancy.
that's one of the wedding things.
Yeah. Saving money.
That old chestnut.
So yeah, I think it's definitely kind of about shopping around and being smart with
Yeah,
how you
no, absolutely.
find things, and
Yeah.
but also reusing decor and things that you've used potentially like in the ceremony.
Yeah.
You can then use that decor and move it to your
Move it into your reception.
reception.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, you only need one set of decor that you can then be smart with and move around the venue.
Yeah.
Or, that kind of thing.
Yeah, there are definitely so many ways. I think genuinely, like, your wedding really doesn't have to cost the earth. And I feel like there's so many different ways that you can, like, even wedding favours, we've spoken about these as well. If you're
Yeah.
like a little bit creative, or if you're a good baker, everybody loves like an eating wedding favour.
Yeah.
Alcohol, another
Always
good
goes down the
one.
tree.
That always goes
I think,
down
like
well.
we say, it's kind of at the start prioritizing like what's important to you, and favors might be kind of, it would be a nice to have rather
Yeah.
than a must have, or don't want. It would be a nice to have, and like you say, it's looking at ways that you could then have them,
Yeah,
but maybe reduce costs, so
Yeah.
doing it yourself, or
exactly. Yeah.
roping in friends and family.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think definitely look at what's important to you
Yeah, I agree.
and kind of go from there. But also I think it's important to have a budget and kind of go back to that and review it.
Yes.
So that you're keeping kind of track of it as you go, because I think it's
Yeah.
so easy. I mean, I love shopping. Like, it's so easy to just go out there and
Go on a mad
spend.
one. Yeah.
But you kind of don't want that to look back and go, oh God.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple of times where people have said that they wished they'd have spent the money on like a videographer and things like that instead of other things. So I feel like it's something, definitely sit down with your partner and go through it and just make sure that you're both on the same page.
Yeah, definitely.
Fingers crossed.
And I think as well, when you're kind of looking, say, for a venue or things like that, you can look at potentially, are there other dates that you could
Yeah.
do? If you want a certain venue, maybe a midweek option would be
Yeah.
a cheaper alternative.
Yeah, because I think, like we said, some people might look at Iscoyd and be like, okay, well, that's definitely out of budget. And that's not necessarily the case at all. You can speak to the venue and do a different day or something, or maybe like slightly different season, and they'll definitely work around you for sure.
Yeah. So on Rock My Wedding, we actually have loads of useful articles about how to save money on your wedding. Lots of DIY articles. I know
Yeah.
you've been doing
Your
a lot
gal
of them.
Fasha
Yeah.
just did one the other day.
Yeah. We've got a DIY roundup. So again, I was saying like about how where you can find inspiration from. It's not just social media. It's also Rock My Wedding. Plug.
.co.uk.
/ yeah, it depends on how good you are at crafty stuff.
Yes.
But there's some stuff that you could do very easily. There's some stuff that maybe you could like rope Uncle Bob and your mum in with. But yeah, a bunch of really easy, some really easy but really cute looking
Yes.
DIYs. So I
And
recommend.
also on Rock My Wedding, we do it where you can filter by kind of price
Yeah.
Yeah,
range,
price
don't
point,
we? And
yeah.
like budget. So you can see
Yeah.
what other people have done for those price
Yeah.
points.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
where they've potentially saved money
Yeah.
or what they've done for their favours.
Yeah.
Or
And like we said as well earlier, even if a wedding is out of your budget, still look at it. You can still get the inspiration from it, and then try and figure out a way to do it at a cheaper cost. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's it. You can't have it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think like it might be worth, you know, very early on in like your in the planning stage, sort of writing down all kind of elements of the wedding. So like, you know, the party, the bridal outfit, and then within each of those categories, thinking like, okay, what is something here that I don't mind sort of swapping for like a cheaper alternative?
Yeah.
And doing it bit by bit.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy, I think, to feel overwhelmed and maybe a bit anxious or a lot anxious about the money side of weddings. Because that's understandable, you know, it's like, it's a big industry, a lot of money goes into it, but it isn't impossible to cut down. In fact, it's sometimes like relatively easier than you'd expect to cut down like a fair amount of money from things that you wouldn't even think about until you sort of write it down and realize, oh, actually, I don't need this.
Yeah.
Maybe that it was in a film once, but I don't really need like 800 doves flying out of cages once I kiss my new husband, like this, things like that.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day as well, you have to remember that all that really matters is that you're getting married,
Yeah,
and it's going to be the
absolutely.
most beautiful day, whether you have the favours or you don't have the favours, whether you have
Yes.
the massive flower arrangements or you don't have the massive flower arrangements.
Your planning should be fun.
Yeah.
It should.
It should not be stressful.
Exactly.
And honestly, we never ever get a wedding where somebody goes, oh, this went wrong and it ruined the day.
Yeah,
It's literally just
exactly.
like, we forgot all about it and it was the best day ever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
please do not stress.
You're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
Promise. Pinky promise.
And invite us.
Yeah. Please.
I need to wear a dress from recycled somewhere.
I know, we
Even if
keep
it's not my
saying,
own
we're like,
wedding.
can we just buy this? I'm not even getting married.
I want some of those Randall shoes. I want to grab them.
So yeah, I think, so basically all of the articles that we've discussed today, you can find them all over on Rock My Wedding, and please do check out Sasha's reels as well, because they are very, very good and very helpful.
Inspirational.
Yeah, and thank you so
try.
much for coming on and joining
Thank you for
us.
having me. I
Was
had
it
a great
okay?
time. It was okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
You
no, I
come
had a
back?
good time. Yeah, tomorrow.
Still want to come to your job? Not scared?
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Bye.
This podcast is brought to you by We Are the Clarks, a creative photo and film team. You can find links to all articles in our show notes at rockmywedding.co.uk. And remember, if you're loving the Rock My Wedding podcast, please like, share, or leave a review on Apple or Spotify.